Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your friendly neighborhood Tony, and today we are going to finally do my 200 subscriber Q&A video. This one, I'm going to try not to edit really much at all unless I absolutely have to. So this is going to be kind of off the cuff. Hope you guys don't mind. Hope you enjoy it. But yeah, we just recently hit 200 subscribers. I wanted to give it a few days because something really funny happened where we got to 201 subscribers and I was like, all right, time to do the video. And then 2 people unsubscribed. So we dropped back down to 199. So I was like, well, I can't do a 200 subscriber video if I don't currently have 200 subs. So right now we're sitting at 207, which is pretty dope. Super excited about that. And I think we'll probably, for the time being, do a Q&A video maybe every 100 subscribers, until we get to a certain point where I'm just getting 100 subscribers fairly regularly. But for now, it seems to take a couple months to get each next 100 subs. So next Q&A video is going to be 300 subs. If you have any questions for that, let me know on this video and I'll just come back to this one for all the questions for that video. So without further ado, trying not to dilly-dally too much, I do have a few questions from some of you guys. I really appreciate it. I think a lot of you subscribers have come from the same place, but for those that haven't, maybe I'll address you a little bit later. But for now, a lot of these questions are going to be about anime, oddly enough. So I'll talk a little bit about that. For those that don't know, before doing this YouTube channel at all, I was on a very long-running anime podcast that's still going to this day, and I was on there for several years, and it was an incredible time. I still go on from time to time to jump on episodes here and there, but it was wonderful. Really enjoyed my time there, and I just wanted to start doing more just secular movie-related content, so I figured I'd jump out and do that on my own here on the channel. So a lot of these questions are going to be from listeners and viewers of that podcast. If you did not find me on that anime podcast, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear which of you just stumbled upon me from YouTube. That'd be really dope. So I won't dilly-dally anymore. I keep using that phrase, but we'll start with the first question here, the very first one that was posted, which is from Urza Equip. And they asked, will you review anime movies? So again, I originally was on that anime podcast for several years. And the short answer is yes, absolutely. I would love to review anime movies. Currently, I am doing my Blu-ray Tuesday videos. So if you have anime Blu-ray movies that you recommend, I mean, I have several in my collection already, but if there are ones that you would like me to review, let me know in the comments on those Blu-ray Tuesday videos. So whatever you guys recommend in those, I'm going to review. So if you want me to review, Akira on Blu-ray, I have that. I'll review it. If you want me to review any of the Studio Ghibli movies, I have all those on Blu-ray. So, or whatever, any random anime movie, totally down to review. Absolutely behind that. I don't think I'll be reviewing anime shows though, for a number of reasons. One, reviewing TV shows takes a lot of time. You have to watch a lot of episodes. I may do some limited run TV series. So, it takes a lot of time to do that. I don't have a lot of time. Obviously, I have a full-time job. I have a girlfriend. I go to school. So I have a lot going on. It's hard for me to do these videos. So I don't want to get wrapped up in doing 26 episodes of anime like I was doing on the podcast. Also, because of the podcast, I don't want to, although I'm no competition there, the podcast is much, much bigger than me, but I don't want to have stop doing the podcast as much and then just go off on my own and start reviewing anime shows in kind of like a weird competition. I don't like that. If you want anime series reviews, check out the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast. That is the place to go for that. They have my full support. I still go on there from time to time, so I don't want to compete with them in any way, but I will review movies. So if you have recommendations, let me know in the comments. All right. Next up, we've got a bit of a longer message here. This comes from, it looks like Ring Junior 101, and they say, this is really nice. They say, I'm such a big fan of yours, especially when you were on the AAA podcast, hence me finding out since you mentioned it recently. I've listened to it since episode 1, and you guys truly helped me out of my insomnia. And now I can't go to sleep without earphones and listening to the podcast. My question is, I know your strength is also in anime, so why do you not focus on that instead? Is it because reviewing anime takes a long time compared to movies, which I kind of mentioned there, so there you go. Just want to hear your side on what motivated you to start the channel. Thank you so much for the fun times you've given me during your stint in AAA. I will try to support you here as much as I can. Okay, so yeah, I kind of answered a bit of that. It takes a long time to review an anime show. So I would much rather focus on, hour and a half, 2 hour long movies. Also, you wanted to know what made me want to do this channel here. So I'll give you a little bit about my history with movies. I have been a movie fan, almost my entire life, right? Since I was a little kid and saw Star Wars. But really, it kind of kicked into high gear when I was like maybe 12 or 13, and I got the first X-Men movie on DVD. And I didn't have a lot of movies of my own, right? Like my mom had movies and stuff, but it was all like Sleepless in Seattle and like Jennifer Lopez movies and stuff like that. So it was like, whoa, this is a cool comic book movie. I was a big comic book fan growing up. And I watched that DVD and all the special features over and over and over. And I would listen to the director commentary. I would watch the making of, and I just obsessed over it. And so it was at that time that I really got into how movies are made. And in another life, if I had opportunity, who knows, maybe I would have, gotten into filmmaking or something like that. But I just really kind of began obsessing over that medium of storytelling. And so after doing the podcast, honestly, all of this is, kind of a tribute and because of doing that anime podcast. Being on that really got me to a place where it was like, oh, I can express my opinion. And not necessarily that my opinion is more important than anybody else's or anything like that by any means, but it gave me kind of a confidence to be like, my opinion is not invalid, right? My view on especially art, right? Storytelling is in movies and TV shows and anime, it's also subjective. And my perspective is just as valid as anybody else's, and yours is just as valid as anybody else's. And so that being on that kind of gave me that confidence to do that. And so that's why I am here. I wouldn't be making these videos if not for that. Also, if you hear any noise in the background, it's my dog. He's just kind of walking around in the background here and, licking himself and doing dog stuff. So please excuse any background noise that you hear there. Also, I really appreciate that the podcast was important to you, Ring Jr. It was also very important to me when I first started that. I was at a pretty low place in my life, and it kind of turned things around for me and kind of opened me up to a community of friends and all that. So thank you so much for sticking with me on this new endeavor. I'm really excited to see where this goes, but I will definitely still be back on the podcast from time to time. Okay, next question. We got a couple questions here from Scott Crossan. Crossan? Is that how you pronounce it? Crossan? I don't know. But Scott says, 1, do you still eat a keto diet? So Scott, also somebody that must have been following back on the podcast. I did a keto diet for some time. I was actually significantly heavier than I am right now. I am about 5'8.5" as far as my height is concerned. And I was up at 220 pounds at my heaviest, which I know to some of you may not be a lot, but for me, that was a lot. I'd never weighed that much in my entire life, and it was not good weight. I was not jacked. And so I ended up, trying a few different diets and exercise routines. I did keto for a while. That helped me drop a ton of weight. I got down to like 155, which was way too skinny for me. I should not be 155. And I've since gone back up to around 180 or so, which is all right. I could probably stand to lose another 10, but I'm not still doing the keto diet anymore. I did it for a while. It was effective. For me, it wasn't something that I could keep up with forever. I think what became more sustainable for me was just kind of watching what I eat. Don't eat so much junk food. Don't drink a bunch of soda, that kind of thing. Kind of limit your portions. So that's really where I am now. Another question from Scott: what skills that I learned during the podcast transfer over to YouTube? I think first and foremost is being able to communicate my opinion, right? So, and I still struggle with this. I think a lot of times you'll watch something and you'll have an idea of how you feel about it, but to be able to take that idea and to put it into words, and not into just words that you ramble on for 10 minutes, but don't really say anything important, but to be able to concisely kind of break down, what do I like about this? What do I not like? Why? What's the difference between directing and cinematography? And, where do those lines kind of separate, right? So you can look at something and say like, oh, I don't like how this feels, but I don't know why. So being able to express that is definitely something I learned on the podcast for sure. And then, of course, also some of the, little technical things, right? Like how to set up recording and stuff like that. And but yeah, mostly I think it was just how to communicate my opinion in a concise and effective way to an audience without completely boring them. I'm sure I still bore people from time to time, but trust me, it would have been much, much worse if I didn't have the experience of the podcast. Let's see what else we have here. Hold on now. We got some more questions. Scott said, oh, you enjoy the trailer videos? Keep those coming? Absolutely. So that's another thing. I started this channel to just review my Blu-rays that I have in my collection. For me, it was kind of an excuse to buy more movies, where I was like, well, I'm just buying these movies, but maybe it's a waste of money. And I'm like, well, what if I talk about them on YouTube and share my opinion on them? Then it's not really a waste of money. So that was kind of how I started doing it. And those videos get some views here and there, but then there were some big trailers that came out, and I was like, oh, let me just do a quick reaction to this trailer. And those videos get way, way, way more views than any of my Blu-ray reviews, which is hilarious because they're so much easier to do. So what I try to do with my trailer reactions is also give you my opinion on the movie, right? So I think I did one for Morbius that is out in theaters right now. And I looked up who made it, who's writing it, who's directing it, what their history is, what movies they've worked on, to kind of give you an idea of, is this movie going to be set up for failure, right? And turns out it was. The movie kind of sucks, and I kind of called it. So I try to do that with my trailer reactions. I don't just want to sit there and have a trailer playing and then just be like, whoa, wow, oh my gosh, amazing, and not really provide anything but my reaction. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. If you do, let me know. If there are other types of videos you'd like to see, let me know as well. I am totally fluid and open to trying new, different types of videos and things like that. So just let me know what you guys want to see, and I will try to make it happen. All right, next up we have a message here from SK. They say, congrats, Tony. I'm not sure if there's a Blu-ray. Oh, but I'd like to. Okay, so you had a couple recommendations. You recommended A Guide to Recognizing Your Saints, Charlie Bartlett, and Edge of Tomorrow. So a little bit of a spoiler, Edge of Tomorrow is my next Blu-ray Tuesday video, so keep an eye out for that coming in the next few days here. Also, you say that as an AA stan of mine, you'd love to see me review my favorite Dragon Ball Z movies. I do love some Dragon Ball Z movies, but then there are also some of them that are not very good at all. What was the one with was it the giant frog? That movie was not good. Oh my God, that was terrible. Where Piccolo cuts off his ears or something. Anyways, I would totally be down to review some Dragon Ball Z movies. Let me know, recommend them in the Blu-ray Tuesday videos, and I will absolutely check those out. I might also do some ranking videos. I've done a couple, and those seem to have done pretty well. So if you have ranking recommendations, like you want me to do, oops, sorry, I just dropped my phone. You want me to do a video on my top 5 Dragon Ball Z movies? I'll totally do that. That would be fun to do. So let me know about that in the comments if you guys would be down for it. You also have an anime film recommendation, Bell. That's a really cool movie that I've been wanting to talk about, so I may end up doing that one as well. So yeah, keep the recommendations coming. All right, and you said we love you so much. Congrats again. All right, thank you so much, SK. I appreciate it. All right, next up, we've got one here from You're Not What You Own, which is a cool name. It says, congrats, Tony. Love your content. How do you choose what movies to review and or trailers to react to? What is the best way to make a request on what to review or react to? Okay, good question. So how do I pick? Honestly, it's, I would say 70 to 80% what interests me. So if there's a movie that's coming out and I'm like, that looks dope, I'll do a reaction to the trailer or something like that. And then it's probably 30% of what's really popular right now. So I follow a few channels that just post movie trailers. They don't review them or anything like that. They just post the trailers. And sometimes I'll look at those and be like, oh, which one of these is getting a lot of views right now? What's really popular? What are people interested in? And I'll try to do reactions to those trailers. And then as far as the reviews are concerned, a lot of that, obviously, we talked about the Blu-ray several times. That's going to be pretty much entirely based on your recommendations. But as far as reviewing movies in theaters, I have the Regal Pass, so I can go and see whatever movie I want whenever I want. So, that I have the opportunity to watch whatever. And what I'm going to try to do is to do more trailer reactions and then look at those and see which ones are getting a lot of comments and a lot of views, and then kind of prioritize reviewing those movies when they come out. So that's kind of how I'm looking to do that. But of course, if you have recommendations, let me know. This is a two-way street, right? I make the videos, but you guys totally have an input. So if you have a recommendation or anything like that, I'd love to hear it. Let me take a sip of water real quick. Getting kind of parched. All right. Again, no edits. All right, this next one comes from Fortunatus. And Fortunatus says, thanks for the vid. I dig the reviews of your collection. I think it's cool. I missed your anime reviews and commentary, but I'm not sure if you wanted to separate yourself from that genre. My question is, what got you into enjoying movies and wanting to learn more about them? I enjoy not only the movies, but these directors and actors and degrees of separations of all of these people and factoids of movies like directorial debuts, acting debuts, and whatnot. I can't really talk to many people about movies to the degree I enjoy, but that's okay. Thanks again and keep it up. So yeah, I talked a little bit about, separating myself from necessarily doing anime show reviews, but I am still down to do the movie reviews for those. What got me into it? I talked a little bit about that, my first DVD that I ever bought. And I also am super into kind of the behind the scenes and like who's directing what, who wrote what, and acting debuts and things like that. It's funny because you see a lot of times on like Blu-ray box sets, or they'll be like from the studio that brought you such and such. And I always find that hilarious because the studio itself generally is not that important. What's really important is who's writing and directing the movies. That's really what's going to tell you whether or not the movie is going to be good. So I find that oftentimes people, and even people that do this for a living, like movie pundits, movie reviewers, they, not all of them, but there are some that it will surprise you, really don't have a grasp on whether or not a movie is going to be good based on the history of the people making the movie. And sometimes it's very clear. Sometimes it's you're not sure. You can't be sure because either the writer and director will have like a hit and miss track record, but sometimes it's like, hey, this person who is writing and directing the movie has never made a good movie. So the odds of this movie being good are very, very slim. And so I like to look at that kind of behind the veil type stuff to see and to really give me an idea as to what to expect. So I love that you are into that too. I totally am. And I'm going to keep doing that on this channel, and I hope you enjoy it. All right. Let's see here. Cameron Fowler says, question, can we torture you and have you review Grave of the Fireflies? You absolutely can. I've seen Grave of the Fireflies a number of times, and that movie is so depressing. I don't think my girlfriend's seen it, so that might be a fun thing to get her to watch Grave of the Fireflies and get her reaction. I actually want to kind of get her, I don't want to get her in all my videos because she doesn't really have an interest in doing that, and also, I don't want you guys to have that expectation, but I do want to get her in at least on some things, especially movies that she's unfamiliar with that I might be familiar with. So that might be a good one to do too, Grave of the Fireflies, and get her thoughts on it as someone who's not a big anime fan from her perspective and someone who's never seen it. And then you have me who has seen it several times. So also, I'm sorry if you guys are hearing a ding noise. I think it's my iPad that's getting like my text messages sent to it. So I apologize if you're hearing that in the background. Okay. Next question comes from Storm Shadow. Another great name. Love that. It says, by the way, your thoughts on Will Smith punching Chris Rock at the Oscars, making fun of his wife. That was out of nowhere. Yeah. So that just happened a few days ago. I mean, it's really, it's unfortunate in a number of levels, right? Gosh, it really, I feel like everybody's giving their thoughts on this, and my thoughts are probably not that important, but I will say, one, it is my firm belief that physical violence should never, ever be used as an answer to words, right? The only way to combat words is with words. And as soon as you cross that line and you introduce physical violence, then you have made yourself the bad guy. So that is my firm belief. And also, you should know about me, I've practiced martial arts a majority of my life. I've, done boxing, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, and all of that, even though I have a history of what people would consider various violent sports, I would never strike someone for saying something that I don't like. That puts you in a position of being weak and being incapable of expressing yourself in an adult manner. And so you have no choice but to resort to what a toddler does and smack someone. So that was really upsetting. It also cast a poor light on the Oscars. The Oscars are kind of a mess as it is. I being a massive film fan, don't really care that much about the Oscars. I just follow on Twitter and see who's winning what. But most of those movies are movies that the majority of the audience doesn't really care about. So yeah, it really just kind of like uh, it set it gave a bad look to the Oscars. It gave a bad look to Will Smith. You know, it also set a bad precedent for comedians, right? That if a comedian's on stage and their job is to tell jokes, and sometimes those jokes are not going to be jokes you like, or sometimes they're going to be making fun of something that you're sensitive about. And that basically set the precedent that, oh no, you know what? If I don't like what you say, I can stop the show, walk up on stage and smack you or punch you or strike you or whatever. And that is a very scary and just messed up precedent to set. So really unfortunate that happened. From what I've heard too, the producers of the Oscars then asked Will Smith to leave, and he said no. And apparently they were going to call the police on him, but Chris Rock didn't want to ruffle any feathers any further, and he was like, let it go. I'm not going to press charges or anything like that. So just an all-around mess. What a horrible situation. Hopefully it gets sorted out. I think Will Smith said that he was resigning from the Academy, at least for the time being. Whatever that means. Obviously, being resigned from the Academy means he wouldn't be eligible for any nominations or awards going forward. I don't know how long that's going to last. We'll see. But yeah, that is just horrible. And hopefully it gets resolved soon. Let's see what else here. Next up, let me take another sip of water. Talking so much nonstop is difficult. When I was on the podcast, at least I had a chance to like pause and let somebody else talk. So, okay, this one comes from Craftimus. It says, who is your favorite B-list movie actor? All right, B-list movie actor. That's a tough question because it's like, what do you consider B-list, right? Obviously, we know what A-list is, right? Those are, you know, Scarlett Johansson and Robert Downey Jr. and like basically everybody in the Avengers movies. Meryl Streep. So B-list? Oh gosh, who's a good... I feel like there's a lot of good B-list actors. You know what? I don't know what list you would make this actor as far as B, C, whatever, but there's an actor that I love. I'm a big fan of his, and I would love to see him in more stuff. It's Sam Witwer. He, for those that don't know, does the voice for Darth Maul in all of the animated stuff, and also in the movie recently, the Solo movie, he did the voice of Darth Maul. He also does the voice of like Emperor Palpatine. He does a bunch of other Star Wars stuff as far as voices. He was the Galen Merrick, who is the character in The Force Unleashed, the Star Wars Force Unleashed games. He's been in a ton of stuff. He was Doomsday in Smallville, and he's a really, really good actor. I'd love to see him in more stuff. So I don't know if he would be considered B-list, but as far as a lesser-known actor that I really enjoy seeing, I'm going to go with Sam Witwer on that. Next question from Craftimus. He had several. Or they, sorry, I don't know Craftimus' gender, said, what's your least favorite genre? My least favorite genre. I feel like this is changing over time. You know, when I was a young kid, I would have probably said, oh, rom-coms. Rom-coms suck. But I feel like as I grow up, my tastes kind of have broadened. If I had to pick just my least favorite genre, it's going to sound terrible. And like, it's not all encompassing. Like there are movies in this genre that I do enjoy, but just as a whole, I would say like super pseudo intellectual art house hoity toity movies where it's just, you know, we're going to stoically stare off into the distance and it's going to be all black and white. And, you know, those movies, some of them are good. Some of them are enjoyable, but I find that a lot of them are just, I don't know. It feels like the creators just have their heads up their butt and, you know, they're just trying to like show off and they think they're hot stuff. And that just kind of doesn't really interest me for the most part. So I would say probably art house, if that's a genre, would probably be my least favorite genre. Okay. Next question, also from Craftimus. Who is a popular actor that you can't stand or don't understand why they are so popular? Okay. The first one that just popped into my head when you said that, a popular actor that I can't stand, I'm sure they're a good actor, but their personality is just so dull to me. And this feels mean, but it's the truth. Brie Larson. I know she's a good actress. I know she's an Oscar winner, and I'm sure she's a nice person, but just something about her personality, it just feels really dull. And I don't know if that's just how she comes across on screen, but Yeah, I wouldn't say I can't stand her, but I will say that if I see that she's starring in a movie, I'm probably not going to be as interested to see it as I would be for some other actors or actresses. So yeah, I'm going to go with Brie Larson on that. Also, another question: what's a performance that you loved by an actor that you normally don't like? Dang, that's a good question. So an actor that I don't normally like, but they did a performance that I was like really into. Holy cow. I might have to edit here because I'm trying to think of anything. There's not a lot of actors that I just don't like. Man, you know what? I don't know if I have an answer for you. What is it? Performance? Dude, I'm just drawing a blank. I'm so sorry. If I think of something, I will reply to your comment. But right now, there's just nothing really coming to mind. Yeah, no. There's not a lot of actors that I just don't like. So that's why it's so difficult. But if I think of something, yeah, I'll reply to your comment. Okay, I think we have one other question here. And this one is from... Oh, no, we have two more questions. This one's from Hakalos? How do you pronounce that? Hakalos Reviews. And it says, you should do weekly reviews for streaming shows. Okay, and that's kind of similar to another question I had here that I saw, which was on another video. Let me pull up that question here. So that one is from... Oh, where'd it go? Where was it? Oh, from Ring Jr. that said, can you do a review of Moon Knight episode 1? So doing reviews of ongoing TV shows, totally down to do that. If it's a limited series, I don't want to be reviewing every episode of, some crazy long show, every episode of The Flash that's been running for 9 seasons now. But if it's something like Moon Knight, I'm absolutely going to be doing a review of that show. The first episode I watched with my girlfriend, she doesn't know anything about Moon Knight, the character. I know a fair bit about the character, so I want to do a video with the two of us kind of going over that. If I can get her to jump on and do that in the next couple days, I'll do that of episode 1, and then hopefully of each episode going forward. So absolutely down to do that. If there are streaming shows that you want to recommend to me, totally let me know. I can't promise that I'll review them all because I just don't have the time to do something like that. But I am very much open to do so, and I fully intend on doing so for Moon Knight. If I can't do it episode by episode, at least reviewing the full season, but I want to do it episode by episode. So I think those are all the questions. Thank you guys so much for commenting and for subscribing. Again, like I said, we're at, I think, 207 subs as of the recording of this video, and it's incredible. The growth has been insane. I've been setting little goals month over month, and we've been completely smashing those. So, it couldn't have been done without each and every one of you jumping onto the channel. I know a lot of you came from the Anime Podcast, AA Podcast, so thank you so much for following me over here. For those that haven't, those that just stumbled upon me and decided to subscribe, that's incredible. And what a leap of faith for you to take that you don't even know who I am, and you're like, yeah, I'll subscribe to this guy. So that's super dope. I really appreciate that. I fully intend on keeping this going and making as many videos as I possibly can. Again, I'm pretty busy with work. I go to school. I have this life with a dog and a girlfriend and all this other stuff. So it's hard to find the time, but I really will do my best to make sure I'm putting out videos regularly for you guys. If you have any other questions, let me know on this video, and then I will take all of these questions on to the next Q&A, which will be, I think, the 300 subscriber Q&A video, which hopefully will hit in the next couple months, maybe? I don't know. That's up to you guys. So thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll catch you in the next one. All right. Be good.